All right, guys, here we go in what could potentially be Prime's last game in this match. If this guy doesn't win it right here, our purple Protoss from the Team Prime, it is Creator. And in the upper left part of the map, in the red, representing Team Acer, on the verge of sending his team onto the next round in the Winners League, upsetting Team Prime, it is Nerchio.
That's right. So Acer's ace has taken a game, as well he should, or well you would hope.
Yeah.
But now, of course, we're going to see what Creator has up his sleeve, and apparently it's a very interestingly placed pylon. Not setting that towards the back and continuing to wall across the side. He's actually throwing that at the front of the ramp there. He'll still more than likely close off this space, but still a very exposed pylon to start the game.
Well, here's some interesting, just real quick info about Salmosa here.
Okay.
Looking into TLPD, his last Brood War results were from 2005.
Really?
Actually, yeah. I mean,
May have been more of a coach.
I don't know what he's been doing, but he did play Brood War for a while ago. I can see some wins against some decent players throughout this, but overall, yeah, it looks like he hasn't been very active. Well, it says Prime, so obviously I'm showing my lack of Brood War knowledge here by not being able to kind of decipher that. There was another team he played for that was like Zone or something like that, but yeah, I'm sorry, my Brood War knowledge is just not that high.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, he took a game, so and that's really what you want out of a brand new player as well, especially the Grandpa Zerg himself. So
sure, would explain. Yeah, why he's still playing at the ripe old age of 29. I feel weird even saying that. I'm 29. I don't feel
old people.
I still play StarCraft 2. I'm gonna play it for a long time.
There you go.
Probably.
Yes.
Until StarCraft 3 comes out.
I am only 25, so I'm a youngin.
Sure.
It's okay.
Sounds good.
Well, pool first out of Nerchio. No real surprise there is, of course, PVZ. Creator decided to forge first and had a little bit of excess resources there. Maybe it had his attention elsewhere. Was a little bit late in throwing down that Nexus, but it does drop down on 18 and piloting off his opponent's natural as well. Of course, this is a map where it's a little more difficult to go for that 3-base style, because if you go for the 3-base style, especially that Nerchio knows where his opponent is now, he actually has to put his third down towards his opponent unless he wants to expend the links right away to take out the destructive rocks, which actually sets his economy back quite a bit.
Yep, he's going to try to take down those rocks as fast as possible, but the current metagame in Zerg versus Protoss actually doesn't work terribly well on this map. You can see, I mean, if Creator had wanted to, he could have blocked that hatch for a very long time. And with the openings that Zergs are doing, it would have, been a big delay, right, for Nerchio, and no option to take a really fast third. Obviously that one at the top middle of the map wouldn't be safe at all to take with the spawning positions. Yeah, you don't want to take that base right there if your natural gets blocked with a pylon. So this is a map that Protoss can kind of abuse Zerg a little bit on in the early game. Yeah. But it looks like Creator.Prime did kind of allow him to get that hatchery down fairly quickly, so Nerchio won't be that far behind.
And even with taking out these rocks very diligently at the beginning of the game, it's still going to delay the third base that comes out, even if it's just by a couple of minutes. So it's still a very interesting map to try and play that common roach style off of. Nerchio still, of course, does love that, but as I mentioned before, we've seen him a couple of times play that super heavy Muta style here on Tal'Darim Altar against Protoss players.
Yeah, now let's talk for a moment why that Muta style is so good on this map, or why it was so good. The reason why a lot of Zergs were choosing to do that as this probe gets in and gets a good scout is that the 3 bases are kind of configured in a bit of a triangle formation, right?
Yeah.
And it's in a way that Mutalisks can easily bounce, especially between the natural and the third, to do a lot of damage here. Obviously, between the third and the main, you can do a lot, but basically, you have Mutas kind of bouncing all over the place. Players would very normally go up to like 40 to 50 Mutalisks, and then just have 2 groups of like 25 hitting in 2 places at once. And if it gets to that point, there's just no way that Protoss can handle it. You almost need to kind of hope that the Zergs make some mistakes and you can get some good storms on their Mutas, because as things stand, if you get into that situation, you're going to be losing so much so quick that it's really impossible to come back.
And we'll see what Creator's follow-up is going to be now. He did put down the pretty early gas number 3 and 4, going with the... I like the addition of another pylon back here just to make sure that everything is safe and secure. And I'll be curious what direction his tech heads down in just a bit. He's obviously going to be building up an immense amount of gas very early on. No Stargate or anything along those lines quite yet. No Twilight Council either. And looks like it's going to be gateways number 2, 3, and more than likely 4 here in just a second as well when he does build up to that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, with that +1, he could potentially throw down a Robo as well and go for something like that. Oh, but it's going to be a Twilight Council. You see a very quick blink. Creator.Prime certainly knows, you know, who he's playing against, you know, on this map. He's going to want to get blink quickly in case Nerchio rushes for Mutalisks, possibly. That would be helpful. It's also an avenue to go to get Templar out later. A lot of what Creator.Prime is doing seems to be kind of expecting that Mutalisk play, but I'm not so sure that Nerchio's going to do that. He's doing a very normal ZVP metagame strategy right now, going for the Roach Warren, going for the Evo Chamber. Ah, but there is a Spire. Okay, yeah. So basically, he's going to have what he needs to defend the common Protoss pushes that are seen at around this time, right, or a couple minutes later from now, but he's going to make the Spire in the hopes that he can go for the big Mutalisk play.
Well, we'll see if he has what it takes to defend. As we mentioned before, Hallucination immediately started now for Creator. So that tells me that he does want to get super aggressive. Of course, that causes him to not have to put the resources into a Robo and also have those observers along with it as well. He'll be able to scout. He'll be able to send those forward, so he has vision up ramps very easily, which means that he probably wants to get a lot more aggressive. And let's see, he's got 6 gates up. He'll probably add a 7th. And we'll see how quickly he wants to go ahead and move out.
Good old-fashioned 6-gate +2 Blink Stalker. I mean, this is one of the oldest strategies in the books. And yeah, he's going to be making sure that he gets a 3rd as well with it. Yeah, for sure. I mean, he does a lot of those pushes with a 3rd. You know, I think we talked about this last time in some of his PvZ against Sleep.
Yeah, that's right. So it's Creator's one of the most patient players out there. He plays, especially in his PvT where it's a little bit exacerbated, plays a very patient brand of play as well. So even if he does end up going for those big blinky plays, inevitably he's going to be taking a 3rd behind this.
7 mutas in a row right now for Nerchio, so he's going to be able to get in there and do some damage. Immediately starts the Infestor upgrade as well. This is kind of interesting. Nerchio not just putting all his eggs in one basket, so to speak, not just over-relying on Mutalisks. He also does see that fake Phoenix, but he's not going to be too phased by that as well. But he wants the option to go into Broodlords a little bit later in the game, depending on how much damage he can do with his mutas. He's in a spot right now where if he starts to kind of snowball with the mutas, he can just keep making them. But he's also in a position where he has the tech that if the mutas don't work out, he can go into more of a standard later game ZVP.
All right, well, Lings tried to poke him while the mutas were going to swing in from the side. Never really got off the ground, so, and it looks like mutas now finally taking out a couple of probes, just going to disrupt mining for a second or two. Not a whole lot of damage being done, really, to the mutas or the economy.
Yeah. Yep, Nerchio pretty well zoned out by the Stalkers of Creator.Prime. And once Creator.Prime gets that 3rd base up, he's going to be in a good spot. Oh, looks like Nerchio's going for this, though, but how much damage will he really be able to do?
I don't know. It looks like the Photon Cannon is actually helping quite a bit off to the side. It's actually cannot be overstated how much that did help there. And all of the mutas just evaporated.
Oh, and I like that. Immediately, Creator.Prime sends out a Phoenix to scout, a hallucinated Phoenix to scout, and the reason we're seeing that is Creator.Prime is thinking right now, he's like, all right, why did you just actually let all your mutas die? You've got to have something else going on, because if you were going for mass mutas, there's no way those mutas would have stuck around. And so he's going to be looking for any other tech, and he should find it. Let's see. Well, there is a macro hatch, but there we go. Yeah, he sees the infestation pit. Now he's like, oh, okay. Now I know why you let those mutas die. You're just actually going to go into a more standard game.
Yeah, we'll see what... Now, the interesting part is that those mutas didn't really get a lot done. They required a significant investment and kind of set back the tech of Nerchio for quite a bit. So, Creator was able to safely take a 3rd base, and 3-base Protoss is certainly no fun for any Zerg player. And he has the Robotics Bay finishing up as well. So this is actually going to be an incredibly strong army pretty early on for Creator.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm actually a little bit worried for Nerchio right now. What Creator is doing is getting hit with a lot of power. He could kind of push with the 2nd Colossus. That's going to be slightly after +3 weapons finished. If he wants to be really aggressive, he can even hit with 1 Colossus. But as it is, he could do a decent amount of damage. A lot of Infestors out right now, but this is Infestor Ling, right? If Nerchio wants to fight this head-on, he's going to need some Roaches added into this as well, because Infestor Ling is going to die so fast to Gateway Colossus play.
Yeah, he actually needs to hit and hit hard pretty soon, unless we're going to see a significant tech jump out of him. Indeed, we do see Roach speed is almost finished up, and Hive tech is on the way, but it's still going to be eons before those Broodlords are going to be out. 100 seconds for Hive, 100 seconds for Greater Spire, production time of the Corruptors, and then what's what, 30 or 42 seconds, I think, to morph in Broodlords.
Yeah, to be completely honest with you, I feel like Nerchio is trying to do too much this game. He is not really, you know, he's giving himself options, but in doing that, he's kind of he's not really able to commit to anything. You know, he's kind of becoming a jack of all trades and master of none in this game as a Zerg player, and that doesn't work at all.
This is reminding me of some of the games against Sleep that we saw earlier when Sleep was trying to split between, kind of Zergling Infestor, maybe some Roaches here and there. Yeah. I kind of wanted to go to Broodlords really quick in a lot of circumstances, but none of it just really got off the ground. Well, we're only going to have 10 Roaches here in a second.
These Corruptors are going to need to be used to go after the Colossi as well. So again, you know, just something else that's not going to allow them to be Broodlords.
And Creator.Prime, of course, taking the base right next to his opponent's main. So
I think he knows he's in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, we'll see what happens here now. How many Colossi are out? 2 for the time being. A third one is about finished, and there are 8 Corruptors. So they will be able to dispatch of Colossi, focusing them down fairly quickly, but it's going to require some incredible unit control now out of Nerchio. And did he start morphing in Greater Spire? He did not.
Yep.
So
well, he knows he's not going to really be able to get those Broodlords out anytime soon here. Now, what he really needs to do in this case, if he wants to win this game, is have a lot of larvae ready to make a lot of Roaches after this fight, because he's going to lose absolutely everything.
All right, well, he's starting to cycle in with a good number of units, pinning down a couple of Colossi as well. Yep. Takes one of them out very quickly. The second going to fall here momentarily. Will he be able to get the third? No, the Corruptors would overextend themselves a little bit. They have to move out from underneath the Blink Stalkers. And the Infestors, unfortunately getting targeted down very quickly. A few Fungals have landed, and the Stalkers are injured, but that is still a massive amount of damage output there.
Yeah, absolutely. He does have the supply lead now, and he's got all those Roaches on the way that I said he should make. He's also adding on some Zerglings as well with that. So, but no, maybe not the best engagement. Whoa, will it be enough? Losing a lot of Infestors there. That hurts quite a bit. Now he's going to try it out, but he's not really engaging with his full strength right now. He takes on the Colossi, but does he have enough Fungals to lock those Stalkers in place long enough?
Zerglings are coming in from behind, but there's not enough of them to start turning this tide back, and the Blink Stalkers are starting to go after the Corruptors now, so any replacement Colossi are going to be devastating, even an Immortal in there, which has racked up a huge number of kills against these Roaches and Structures.
Yeah, I think Nerchio just got a little bit too impatient there. Oh, the rally with the Overlords is going to pay for that as well, but he just got a little bit too impatient. If he had gathered up his entire army, if he had had Zerglings attacking, you know, those 40, 50 Zerglings attacking with the Roaches and Infestors and Corruptors, he might have been able to win that fight, but as it is now, yeah, he has to just make a run for it. In fact, he's probably going to lose all of these drones. Oh, no, he's actually going to hide them. Okay. There are Broodlords on the way, but
that's right.
It's debatable whether or not this is going to be enough. It's such a scary Protoss army right now.
And Creator is mining off of that base just next to the creep spread of his opponent while he continues to reinforce quite well. What's the unit count? Okay, mostly just anti-Roach force for now. No Templar tech has been established yet. There are only 3 Broodlords out, and we'll see if that's going to be enough to start turning this. Oh, the Blink Stalkers making their way over. One of the Broodlords is going to fall very quickly. Second goes down as well. Just one remaining, and the Immortals are doing quite a bit of damage to the rest of the Roaches. Their numbers are dwindling very quickly now. Huge kill counts on those Immortals.
Roaches coming off the line as well, but like you said, the Immortals just doing tons of damage to those Roaches, and the Lings of the Drones just not doing enough damage to keep up with all this. The upgrades for Creator.Prime are just helping him absolutely destroy this army. And what are the upgrades right now for Nerchio?
Let's see.
I think they're pretty low. 0, 0. Oh, yeah. So there's just no way that these Roaches are going to be able to take on this huge Blink Stalker comp in the long term. Yeah, it looks like Creator.Prime's going to have to pull back just a little bit there, but with some reinforcements, he should still be in pretty good shape.
Right.
You know, I know I'm sounding really negative about Nerchio right now, but it's such a rough spot. You know, he's essentially a 3-base Zerg against a 5-base Protoss, right?
Well, let's see here. 4-base, yeah.
Yeah, 4-base Protoss, yeah.
Right. So,
can feel like a 5-base Protoss Zerg player sometimes.
That's very true.
That's the truth.
Well, a good number of roaches are still coming out. Nerchio trying to do what he can, stay in this. He does, of course, have the Broodlords continuing to build. As I checked before, it's actually 34-second build time. I'll have to remember that for the future. It's still a huge investment, though, to be able to get those Broodlords on the field. I don't believe, let's see, has Creator seen this base off to the side yet? No, still doesn't know about that, which is a large part of the reason why Nerchio is still in this game and competitive, as he is on almost even supply with his opponent. But man, those upgrades are really going to have to change in a hurry.
Yeah, I feel like Creator.Prime thinks he's a little bit farther ahead than he actually is, but I mean, with an army like that, you can be bold and you can be a little bit more risky and aggressive, but here comes a really nice engagement for Nerchio. The force fields will have to be perfect, and they are.
Yeah, they were actually really good force fields. So many of those roaches. Look how much is trapped behind here, and Fungalgrowth's not really pinning down anything, so there's much less of a buffer, well, I was going to say for the Broodlords, but it's really just one Broodlord. It does fall, though, and most of the roaches are going to fall down after that as well, so Nerchio kind of on the back foot here. These Stalkers could blink up, take out the rest of the Infestors, and indeed they do. This Broodlord is fleeing in panic, but it won't be enough. It goes down as well.
One shot. I may have even caught a little bit of Stalker dancing there for a moment, but it looks like, unfortunately for Acer, their ace is going to get taken out right now. GG! Creator.Prime taking another game, bring it to a 3-4 score.
That's right. So starting to bring things back slowly but surely. Still has work ahead.